Here the cat burst in and started to help. He squatted down at Margarita's feet and began rubbing up her soles with the air of someone shining shoes in the street. Margarita does not remember who stitched slippers for her from pale rose petals or how these slippers got fastened by themselves with golden clasps. Some force snatched Margarita up and put her before a mirror, and a royal diamond crown gleamed in her hair. Koroviev appeared from somewhere and hung a heavy, oval-framed picture of a black poodle by a heavy chain on Margarita's breast. This adornment was extremely burdensome to the queen. The chain at once began to chafe her neck, the picture pulled her down. But something compensated Margarita for the inconveniences that the chain with the black poodle caused her, and this was the deference with which Koroviev and Behemoth began to treat her. "Never mind, never mind, never mind," muttered Koroviev at the door of the room with the pool. "No help for it, you must. Allow me, Queen, to give you a last piece of advice. Among the guests there will be different sorts, oh, very different, but no one, Queen Margot, should be shown any preference. Even if you don't like someone, I understand that you will not, of course, show it on your face. No, it's unthinkable. He'll notice it instantly. You must love him, Queen. The mistress of the ball will be rewarded 100-fold for that. And also, don't ignore anyone. At least a little smile, if there's no time to drop a word, at least a tiny turn of the head. Anything you like, but not inattention, they'll sicken from that. Here Margarita, accompanied by Koroviev and Behemoth, stepped out of the room with the pool into total darkness. I, whispered the cat, I give the signal. Go ahead. Koroviev replied from the darkness. The ball! Shrieked the cat piercingly, and just then Margarita cried out and shut her eyes for a few seconds. The ball fell on her all at once in the form of light, and, with it, of sound and smell. Taken under the arm by Koroviev, Margarita saw herself in a tropical forest. Red-breasted, green-tailed parrots fluttered from liana to liana and cried out deafeningly. Delighted? But the forest soon ended, and its bathhouse stuffiness changed at once to the coolness of a ballroom with columns of some yellowish, sparkling stone. This ballroom, just like the forest, was completely empty, except for some naked Negroes with silver bands on their heads who were standing by the columns. Their faces turned a dirty brown from excitement when Margarita flew into the ballroom with her retinue, in which Azazello showed up from somewhere. Here Koroviev let go of Margarita's arm and whispered, "Straight to the tulips." A low wall of white tulips had grown up in front of Margarita, and beyond it she saw numberless lamps under little shades and behind them the white chests and black shoulders of tailcoaters. Then Margarita understood where the sound of the ball was coming from. The roar of trumpets crashed down on her, and the soaring of violins that burst from under it doused her body as if with blood. The orchestra of about 150 men was playing a polonaise. The tail-coated man hovering over the orchestra paled on seeing Margarita, smiled, and suddenly, with a sweep of his arms, got the whole orchestra to its feet. Not interrupting the music for a moment, the orchestra, standing, doused Margarita with sound. The man over the orchestra turned from it and bowed deeply, spreading his arms wide, and Margarita, smiling, waved her hand to him. "No, not enough, not enough," whispered Koroviev, "he won't sleep all night." "Call out to him. Greetings to you, Waltz King." Margarita cried it out, and marveled that her voice, full as a bell, was heard over the howling of the orchestra. The man started with happiness and put his left hand to his chest, while the right went on brandishing a white baton at the orchestra. "Not enough, not enough," whispered Koroviev, "look to the left, to the first violins, and nod so that each one thinks you've recognized him individually." "There are only world celebrities here. Nod to that one at the first stand, that's Vuitton. There, very good. Now, onward." "Who is the conductor?" Margarita asked, flying off. "Johann Strauss," cried the cat. "And they can hang me from a liana in a tropical forest if such an orchestra ever played at any ball." "I invited them. And, note, not one got sick or declined." In the next room there were no columns. Instead there stood walls of red, pink and milk-white roses on one side, and on the other a wall of Japanese double camellias. Between these walls fountains spurted up, hissing, and bubbly champagne seethed in three pools, the first of which was transparent violet, the second ruby, the third crystal. Next to them Negroes in scarlet headbands dashed about, filling flat cups from the pools with silver dippers. The pink wall had a gap in it, where a man in a red swallowtail coat was flailing away on a platform. Before him thundered an unbearably loud jazz band. As soon as the conductor saw Margarita, he bent before her so that his hands touched the floor, then straightened up and cried piercingly. Hallelujah! He slapped himself on the knee, 1, then crisscross on the other knee, 2, then snatched a cymbal from the hands of the end musician and banged it on a column.